What's up guys, Gerber here, making a video today regarding Far Cry 5. Now, if you haven't heard any of the news, Far Cry 5 is coming out this year in September alongside Red Dead Redemption 2. That normally wouldn't be a problem, but turns out that Far Cry 5, a lot of people seem to be convinced that it's going to be a Western. Why Ubisoft would release a Western the same month as Red Dead Redemption 2, arguably one of the most anticipated sequels to one of the best games of last generation, it would be suicide for the game. So these gaming companies typically don't learn much from each other's mistakes. They kind of hardly ever even learn from their own mistakes. They have a lot of, I'm just going to call it corporate confidence when it comes to business decisions that they make. And you would think that after seeing what happened with Titanfall 2, last year and how it got sandwiched in between juggernauts of multiplayer games such as Call of Duty. And even though it was a great game, it received lots of critical praise, it still didn't sell well because plenty of people went out there and instead of buying Titanfall 2, relatively unknown shooter compared to Call of Duty, it killed the sales. It killed the sales of a good game that should have done well, and it makes me kind of upset because it's a great game. I love Titanfall as a series in general. So, anyways, you would think that Ubisoft would learn from something like that, but I wouldn't be surprised if they haven't. But I found an interesting article today on Forbes, actually, which is ironic. I get a lot of gaming news from Forbes lately. It's kind of a good source. Anyways, so everyone is just convinced that Far Cry 5 will be a Western. I'm not so convinced, and I'm hoping that Ubisoft maybe has a little bit of a brain in there somewhere, given this situation, because if it's a Western, then and it's releasing alongside Red Dead Redemption 2, they might as well just not even bother, because it's not going to sell. You're not going to get an open world game set in the same setting as a classic of a game series like the Red Dead series is. So unless they want to go head to head with Rockstar, which I would not recommend to any gaming company out there, but a couple alternatives of things that may actually be what Far Cry 5 is. So first one I don't agree with. It's an original Native American story before settlers ever got there, but like this article points out, this would be very similar to Far Cry Primal. That would be kind of lazy on Ubisoft's part, which, I mean, I wouldn't put that past them, but I don't think that we're going to see anything that's like Primal was. So, moving on, what I think is much more likely for Far Cry 5 as a setting and as a game in general is going to be somewhere, and this article points it out, somewhere in the Pacific Northwest related to the meth or weed trade. So, in Far Cry 3, we saw a lot regarding the weed trade, and throughout all of the Far Cry games, we've seen a lot of drug references and drug cartels and just sort of the seedy underworld of the drug industry. And I doubt that Far Cry 5 will be any different than that. I think that Far Cry as a series, it goes hand in hand with that kind of seedy underworld vibe, and you are a tool of that seedy underworld, or you fight against that seedy underworld. It's your choice. It's an open world game. But I think that that's much more likely. I'm kind of hoping that maybe it ranges down into sort of like a Breaking Bad New Mexico setting would be amazing. I would love that. I would love maybe a little bit of Ghost Recon Wildlands vibe to this whole thing, where you are running around in desert environments, maybe some forest environments, and you're taking out cartels, and you're doing hits on agents, and you're intercepting drug deliveries, that sort of thing. I think that that would be really enjoyable in a Far Cry game, because for all of their cons, Ubisoft has a few pros, and one of them generally is the Far Cry series and open world games in general. So, and I mean, they've already got the tools to do that kind of game, given Ghost Recon Wildlands. And I mean, honestly, Far Cry as a series, it's dwindled since 3. 3, in my opinion, was the pinnacle of the game series, and I'm hoping to recapture a little bit of that magic where it gives you a really strong villain and gives you kind of a likable protagonist that's trying to, you know, benefit the greater good of his friends and save them from a terrible situation, and he loses a little bit of himself along the way, and that's kind of what Far Cry 3 was to me. And the redemption arc from that, after he's done so much to make things right on this island. You know, I really enjoyed the game. Far Cry 3 is one of my favorite games on the 360, hands down, easily. So I'm really hoping that Far Cry 5 can maybe recapture some of that magic. Ubisoft, in my opinion, they need a hit. I'm not saying that they haven't made hits recently, but they're not what they used to be. During the Assassin's Creed days, they were just destroying it. Far Cry games were just killing it, and we've seen what's happened with Assassin's Creed recently. Ever since Unity, it just has nosedived as a series. Assassin's Creed Black Flag was amazing, and then we just, you know, Syndicate kind of got it back on the right track a little bit. There's another rumored game that's coming out, Assassin's Creed Origins, which is said to maybe be open world as well, and I'm kind of hoping that that maybe gets them on the right track. It's set in ancient Egypt, which was a really cool setting for a video game. We don't see very many video games in that kind of a setting, but hopefully they can really get themselves back on track, and I'm hoping that Far Cry 5 is not a Western from, you know, the 1800s Western, uh, and it's not being released as a Western alongside of a game that will completely crush it, not only in critical reviews and acclaim, but in sales, which is Red Dead Redemption 2. That is not a game that you want to be releasing near at all, even if you're an open world game. I don't think they should release this thing in September. They should wait till October if they decide to release this game and it's an open world game, which it will be. It's a Far Cry game. They're all open world. But do not release anywhere near Red Dead Redemption 2, Ubisoft. If you have any sense in your brain, please don't do it. Whatever kind of, like I said, corporate confidence you may have, your product will not match up to the hype that Rockstar will bring to Red Dead Redemption 2. And I'm not being a fanboy. That's honest truth. That is honest truth. Compare the numbers between Red Dead Redemption and other Rockstar games versus the best Ubisoft game and their other games, and there's no comparison whatsoever. So anyways, I wanted to bring that article to you guys. In the comments, please let me know, what do you think about all this? Do you think that Far Cry will be a Western, or do you think that one of these other scenarios are a little more likely? And are you looking forward to it? Or are you done with Far Cry as a series? Have you ever checked it out as a series? Have you ever played 3? What did you think of it? Let me know in the comments. And if you like this video, please thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more videos just like it. This is Gerber signing out.